Hi everyone, welcome to Data Science Atlas. Here I am back with another intriguing question which was asked in one of the SQL rounds. This is a question which is more into problem solving, and I believe that this is surely going to help you. I really found this question interesting, and let's see how you feel about it. So let's just start with with discussing the problem statement. And so we have a table which the name of the table is game sessions, and this table has user id, game start time and game end time. By now that you might have established what the table has to offer. Table tells us when a user played a certain game, like what is the timestamp when the game started and what is the timestamp when the game ended. And one thing to keep in mind, only when one game has ended, the other game could start, okay, for that user. So the question is that we have to find out the user which has played maximum number of games in a session. So we have to find out a user, okay, find out a user who has played maximum number of games in a session. And the output, the display would look like user id, session number and maximum number of games that user has played in a session. Okay, now let's understand this in a bit more detail. What do I mean by a session, and when does two games belong to a same session? Each of the line item of this table tells us game, okay? And how do I conclude whether two games belong to the same session or not? When the difference, the delta, which is current game start time, this in this case, minus previous game end time, this in this case. So 5:15 minus 5:5, which is 10 minutes. So this should be less than 30 minutes for these two games to belong to the same session. So the first game and the second game belong to the same session because the current game start time and the previous game end time is less than 30. If it's more than 30, then the games belong to a different session. So I hope the concept, the thing behind this is clear, okay? Session is clear. Now okay, let's, before going to the solution, I'll just request you to pause the video and give this question a try yourself, because this is a really good question. I think yeah, I hope you have done that, and let's just understand the solution. So I have broken down the solution into three parts. In the first CT, we'll get the duration, which is this value, and the delta flag, to understand whether this session belongs to the same session as prior game or not. Okay, so that information will be conveyed by delta flag. And in the second CTE, we will get the session number, which is this numbering 0 0 1 2 3, like that. Okay, and in the third and the final logic, we will count the number of games for each user in a session using aggregate group by. So how we are going to, okay, I think you might have understood how we are getting duration and delta flag. That's easy. But how to get the session number? So okay, let me start writing the code, and we will understand this logic on the go. We are going to use cumulative sum here to get the session number. And also just understand this thought that mathematical equivalent of no change is adding 0 to something. Okay, so this is, yeah, so let me write with CTE1 as, here I have select star from game session, so I have selected everything, and I also want the delta, which is game start for the current game minus lag. I hope you are familiar with the lag window function, game end, over partition by user ID, and I'm ordering this by game start, and I will call this diff or delta. Okay, and then I will also get a delta flag, which would be case when. This delta flag is derived out of this logic only. So this, when this delta is less than 30, then 0, else 1. Or when it's greater than or equal to 30, then it's 1. that is the game belongs to a different session, otherwise it's 0. An end, and I will call this as delta flag. So this is my first CTE. Now let's move on to the second CTE, but before that let's just look what this looks like. Okay, operator. Okay, this I am comparing, this is an interval and I'm comparing this with an integer, so that's why I'm getting this error. So I'll write interval 30 minute, and this will give me the correct comparison. So yeah, so now you can see that delta is okay, del flag is 0, 1, and yeah, so this is a different session, 40 minutes, so 1, again different session, 1. So these two belongs to different session. Both of these belong to a different session, but both of these belong to the same session. So that is what del flag is conveying. Now let's understand. Now I want to get the session number. So I'll write another CTE with, I'll call this as CTE2 as select star. Now I want a sum of del flag. Okay, and I will partition this again by user ID. I'm going to order this by game start, and I will call this as session number. Okay, from CTE1, and yeah, that's it. So I'll say select star from CTE2. Now when I run this, you can see that I also have the session number. Now understand, I am taking a cumulative sum of this. So I am taking a cumulative sum 0, this will also give me a 0, but now this belongs to a different session, so 1 will get added. Okay, now again this belongs to a different session, 1 will get added, so 2. Now this belongs to the same session, so 0 will get added in cumulative sum, so I'll get a 2 again. Again 0 will get added, so 2 again. So understand the mathematical equivalent of no change, that is these two belong to the same session, is 0. Mathematical equivalent of no change is adding 0 to something. See, so that is what I was trying to say. So now I also have the session number. Now I just have to count for each user ID and session number. I just have to count the line item. That will give me each line item corresponds to a single game. So that's why counting line item from CTE2, and I'm going to group this by 1, 2. But what I want the user which has played maximum number of games in a session. How will I get there? I can use this table. I can enclose this in a CTE and then use this table, but instead of doing that, I would just use an order by 3 in descending order, and I will limit this to 1. I'll call this as games played. So if I run this, see, so you can see user ID in session number 2, it has played 4 games. So this is my answer. This is exactly the answer that we were looking for. You can also check the data set, and yeah, this is the answer we were looking for. So I hope I was able to explain the question properly, comprehensively, and also you understood the logic. Do let me know if you have an alternative approach. I'll be glad. And if you found this video helpful, please do not shy away from liking the video and also subscribing to this channel. And until next time, thanks for watching.